Hey, what's up, guys? I decided to make another video, finally finishing off, well, not finishing off, but getting caught up, to One Piece. I think I last left off at Big Mom's, like, right after we're like, right before she was about to try to kill Sanji. So that was, like, way far back, and I got sucked into it, and then I kind of like took a break, and I was like, okay. Then I finished it, and I was just like, I don't know, but so I'm finally back to talk about this. I'm all the way like I'm almost perfectly caught up. The new episodes just came out. I'm waiting for a few to come out before I continue. But anyway, going where I said last time, I was like, oh fuck pudding. I hate pudding, whatever, they're gonna try some shit. Every time I be talking shit, like I mentioned before in a previous video, I made a video that I never uploaded. Fucking stupid. About how I like didn't like Phoebe, and I'm like, there's no way they're gonna make me like her. Like, what the fuck you gonna do? Like, and she ended up like becoming like one of the greatest characters. So it was kind of like, okay, I was wrong. Fuck that. And I said, there's no way I'm gonna like pudding, and I was wrong about that too. Um, I just Pudding like was done dirty, and I really like I don't know how the show does it. Where like people you absolutely hate before, you're just kind of either like whatever, or you're like or you like them. Like Wapol, he appears throughout these arcs. Like with the fucking, I don't know, bird guy. I forget his fucking name. There's no way I'm remembering his name actually. Um, and like I don't even hate him anymore. Like, yeah, he did really fucked up things. It's not like I like him though. I want to be clear on that. But like it's just kind of like whatever. Like you can't do shit anymore. We're on a whole different level. Like shit is like up here now. You're like lower than the camera shows. But um man, it was so fucking good. Like just the show is so good. I've been watching a lot of people like talking about like watching it for the first time, or like all this stuff. I've just been obsessed with it. Like One Piece is so good, and I completely like deserve to be shit on for like I. If you watch some of my past videos, I think like maybe in some of the Naruto ones and stuff like that, I'd be like, oh, I'm not gonna watch One Piece because it has 1,000 episodes. Like I was fucking stupid, and like I deserve like everyone to be like, oh fuck you, you're dumb, because I was. 1,000 episodes, bro. It don't feel like enough. And I did watch, One Piece, but I watched all the extended stuff. Like whenever they, had the option for the extended stuff, I watched that. Um, so I got like Kuma's full backstory and everything like that. But anyway, so I'll try to finish off Big Mom's thing first. So I forget if I talked about this last video, but you find out that actually, no, I don't think I did. Yeah, no, I didn't, because we were like, maybe I did. I don't know, but we got Big Mom's backstory, and she fucking ate the people. Like that's kind of sad, but like there, that's one of those where it's like, okay, that's really fucked up, and she's a kid and whatever. But then you kind of see like how she is now, and there's just no excuse for it. Like there's a limit, and you passed that limit like a long time ago. So she just, I hated her, and I was also like, you have to get rid of her at this point. And there's no way you have this whole arc and you don't end up getting rid of her. And I just, wanted them to get rid of her at this point, and I was like, fuck them, get rid of them, whatever. And it didn't, but I like by the end, I didn't mind that they didn't do that. Like I thought I kind of found like a rhythm with the show where they come in, they fight the way up to the like the top people. Luffy beats the top guy, and then we go home. But having her stick around and having her team up with Kaido was awesome, and also having Luffy not fight her. Like it's kind of like, we're done with you now. Like you're second fiddle basically to Kaido. And Kaido's like a bigger threat than anyone than Big Mom. You know, they show her like at her power level, and Luffy's like, I can't beat her. You know, so well, he doesn't really say. I don't think he says that, but it's like he never tries to feel like it was just about getting Sanji back home. But I feel like if he thought he could defeat Big Mom, he would do it. Um, but he just didn't have a reason. Like Luffy needs like a reason to do the things that he does. Like a lot of the thing is like when he gets his ass beat, it's a lot of times because he's not like going hard enough. He needs to get like that switch flipped where it's like, okay, you're done. Um, and that's sometimes frustrating. 'Cause it's like I just want to see like he doesn't really lose anymore, not really. Um, I mean he did in Wano, but either way. So going into Wano, they get Sanji back. They go to Wano. They introduce a little girl. I can't remember her name, but she was adorable. I loved her. Um, they finally unveil all the shit with Momonosuke and all the samurai. I forget their titles, but um, we get the full backstory. We get learning about Momonosuke's father. I'm literally forgetting about his name too. That's why I'm calling that. But his story was awesome, and we finally get a lot more of Whitebeard and Gold Roger. And I know it's Gold D Roger, but like Gold Roger it does sound better. So but whatever. Um, and it was finally like one of those moments where I'm like, oh shit, we're finally getting some stuff. Like, because before I started this show, I thought like, okay, we're gonna know everything, right? Like by the time we start this, like Shanks is gonna we're gonna know about Shanks. We know about the origin of the Straw Hat. We know like all this shit, and we don't know any of it. And while this show has so much, it feels like it's not enough. Like I need more, and I just think like I don't know, like there's some filler, but other than that, like I don't know, like it gets even better and better. But I never thought it was bad. Like I was never watching it and was like, oh, this shit sucks, whatever. And I couldn't because it was too good. But yeah, we're getting okay. So they go to Wano. He meets the little girl. He eats the rice, which was when he asked her that, I was already like, bro, I know she's like. He's stupid, so he didn't notice that. But it was like, bro, she's poor as fuck. And then it's her birthday and she can't get anything to eat. I'm like, okay, bro, this is fucked. And oh my god, like it was so good. And then he decides to bring her to a hospital. He takes the sword, which I thought was cool. Like he barely uses it, but it's still cool to see like Luffy wielding a sword, even though he doesn't need to. Like that's just not his forte. But either way, he finally meets Zoro. Like every time he reunites with somebody, I realize that like he does this like grapple thing where he grapples their head and like pulls himself in it like on them. Like it's kind of funny, And a lot of this arc wasn't just Wano. It was okay. There was the world summit. Like the King of Alabasta's dead. What happened there? We're getting revealed more about the world government. Like this is where I felt like we were barely getting anything. Like we get a little bit of like backstory, like teases, a little something here and there. But then we started getting like flashbacks, like Odin, that's his name. But like when we saw Odin and they're going for the One Piece, and they mentioned Joy Boy, and I forgot that Joy Boy was mentioned in the water, not Water 7, the Fishman Island. That's it. And they said I'm going to make a prediction here. I could be completely wrong, and I actually hope I am. But I think like when that lady saw the future, she saw Luffy standing like over like the city and it was kind of burned and shit. I think it's because Blackbeard goes to destroy it to get the princess, which I love the princess too. I don't know if I mentioned that, but she's like I loved her, and I loved her and Luffy's relationship. But anyway, um, yeah, just going with that. But he's gonna go in there and he's gonna attack it, and they're not gonna be there. And I think the way that they're gonna get there is Kuma, like he'll teleport them there. So I'm excited to see that. Like, cause I'm just Kuma got done dirty. But anyway, let me just try to focus on Wano first. So yeah. Anyway, all of them kind of reunite, and you see that they were all doing these jobs or whatever, and I just thought that that was pretty cool. Like, I was thinking about it. I'm like, they don't like. I thought that they might show some of the stuff that they were doing, in between, the whole Cake Island thing, and they are certainly called Whole Cake Island, I think so. But anyway, but they didn't, and that made it way more interesting. And Wano was really, really interesting with the backstory. Like I said, with Odin, I really liked Odin's backstory. I like how they started doing that. Like they've done it a little bit, but I feel like they got a lot more into the backstories. Like I said, like they're explaining a lot, and the amount of stuff like that they show is just like crazy. Like I'm really interested to see, like, they literally show where the not where the One Piece is, but like you see like the background and all that shit. Unless it was like that's not what it actually looks like, I guess. But I don't know. Like I don't know what the One Piece is. Like nothing's gonna live up to expectations. But like as long as I'm not spoiled about it, I'm just gonna be happy because it's like okay, like this is awesome. But this show, after or during, or I can't remember, like later on, it starts referencing a lot of Luffy's always been like that guy, like that kind of reminds him of someone else, like, oh, you remind me of Odin, you remind me of Gold Roger, you remind me of this, you remind me of that. And it's like, okay, but then they go through the prophecy kind of thing of Joy Boy, and that was so interesting that I really was just super interested to see what happens with that. Okay, I just want to get through one because I kind of want to talk about Egghead because a lot of shit happens in Egghead, but a lot of shit happens in Wano too. But Kaido gets his ass beat. Like Luffy dying was crazy. I did not expect that, but I loved how it was done with like the sneak attack, and then Kaido's pissed off. So you kind of get that respect for Kaido a little bit. And like I never hated Kaido as much as I fucking hate the Shogun guy. I can't remember his name, which thank God because he's a piece of shit. Like, and they tease him dying like 6 times until he finally does. Hopefully, I don't think he'll ever return. He better not actually, because it fucking annoy me. But yeah, so it was cool seeing that, and then the whole fight. I've heard about Gear 5. I've seen the like what he kind of looks like, but I forgot. I knew he had the white hair, but that was basically about it. And it was just so good, like so cool to see that. And then they kind of reveal, that he is I don't know what he is, like a Joy Boy. Like I don't think he's a descendant. I think he's, I don't know, like a spiritual, like has his soul or whatever, something like that. I don't know. I'm hoping they don't go like insanely hard on that, where it's like he is just Joy Boy, like where all of this was fated to happen, because a lot of it feels like it's fated to happen. I don't know. There's a way that they could pull it off where like I'm like, okay, that's still interesting, but I just feel like if you said it all as like this was all fate, everything was, because it seems like Joy Boy had like a crew that was like the Straw Hats. I mean, minus the robot, but stop going. Okay, so anyway, the fight. The fight with him was awesome. It was really cool seeing, getting the story, the Drums of Liberation, and the elephant meeting them, and how they're all connected to like Joy Boy, which you kind of like don't hear that much about. I forget when he's first mentioned. It is like I think it's after the time skip, but if it's after the time skip, it's at Fishman Island, like with the ship, like the ship that he stops from crashing into Fishman Island because Joy Boy's gonna return or something like that. I don't know, like the fights were so good in this. Like a lot of like went down a lot. Nami beat someone, which is pretty cool. I like seeing Nami actually fight people. At first, I didn't fuck with Zeus. So I was like, fuck him, whatever. So I was kind of like with Nami when she was like, I'm done with you. But then when you see how he gets done so fucking dirty by Big Mom, and he goes back to her, and he's like, basically on his hands and knees. It was like, kind of got an upgrade where I was like, okay, so now because I feel like everyone except, like I don't know, like everyone except Chopper, and Usopp, I think. Well, no, not just. Anyway, I think that like they've expanded on how strong that they are to keep up. Not even keep up, like with Luffy, like they're semi in the, like where they're strong, but not completely like overpowered. I don't know. They are like overpowered. But Jesus, I like can't get like what I'm trying to say out. But like, basically like they all get a power up. Zoro gets that new sword that's insanely powerful. And Sanji gets like the shit activated from like when he was born. That was supposed to happen. With the whole like hitting the woman thing, I did not see that coming, and I actually thought he did it. And I felt like it was a little bit of a cop out that he didn't, but I also did end up liking how he didn't do that. But yeah, I don't know. It's just so fucking good. But yeah, so just Zoro with the new sword was pretty cool. You see him fighting Kaido's second in command. I forget his name, but he's like, some rare race or whatever, which was pretty cool to see and see his backstory and how he believed that he was Joy Boy, like that Kaido was Joy Boy. Which like, I don't know how you really believe that. Like, I know his I almost forgot what his name was, like the other name, Mika. I'm really interested to see that, but anyway, so it was cool seeing that. There's tons of fights in there. I want to talk about the prison in Wano. When he first gets shoved in there and Kid's there, I was kind of like, oh, okay, that's kind of cool. Like, and then Kid doesn't really, like, he just escapes like out of nowhere, and it's like, okay, that's interesting. But then you find out Killer got stuck with the, smile fruit, and he's like stuck laughing and all that shit. That shit was so fucked up, but it wasn't Kaido. Like, I feel like they should have made you hate Kaido a little bit more. Like, yes, he didn't care about any of this, but he didn't, like, with the smile fruit, it was all the Shogun, like, all that shit. So it was kind of like he was evil, 100%. Kaido was evil, but he just wasn't doing like that. Like, but yeah, that whole thing was cool. Him in prison, Luffy in prison, trying to learn that new version of Haki from the boss Higuro, I think it is. The old boss, like from Odin's time. And that was pretty cool, like seeing that. And the end where they're, fighting and the guy's shooting his poison. I forget that guy's name, but the guy who can turn into a dinosaur, like Drake. There we go. Was interesting. But him like with those poison rounds was really cool. And at the point of like when they defeat him and they're kind of just like, oh, I forget what happens, but they kind of turn their back on Luffy. They're like, oh no, we can't trust this guy. We can't put our faith in him. Whatever. And he is trying to get Momo to stand up and say like he forces him to be a leader, which I really like. Like he knows what needs to be done and what he can do and what he now like he probably could get them like on his side by himself, but it's like he knows what needs to happen. Wano does need a new leader, and he thinks Momo can do it. And Momo really doesn't do too much in the way of showing he's Odin's son, which is a story point. But it's, I don't know. It's just interesting. Also, like you've had these characters for so long that you don't really realize it. Like especially since you're binging it. If you're like me binging it, but like for years, you knew these people like on since oh my fucking god, since the the Smile Factory one, um, but yes, that was pretty cool seeing that. Uh, okay, I think but anyway, him with what I was trying to get at is him with the poison, like where he takes the poison. I can't even remember exactly why now, like, but it was something like to show like that you can stand it, and it's like he's getting fucking like like dissolving, and it was like holy shit, like not burning whatever, but it was like that was like one of those cool Luffy moments that he has where he just like kind of does something. You're like, damn, like I don't know. Luffy's become one of, if not my favorite anime character, like of all time. And I just think like the more I even hear other people talk about him, the more I'm like, yeah, I love this guy. But I love everyone in the show. There's not a main character I'm really like, get the fuck out of here. Um, I don't hate Usopp. Like I don't hate Usopp. He does need to step up a bit more, and sometimes he's a bit of a bitch. But other than that, I don't think he's that bad. Um, but going back to like when he needs to, when he really needs to step up, he'll do it. But uh, anyway, so getting back to it, Kaido's place um, was pretty interesting. I liked how they set that up, where it's like all these different floors, and Luffy and Law and Captain Kidd are all fighting. Are gonna fight Kaido together, but then of course it gets it. Like Luffy had to fight him on his own; he had to. But seeing seeing Big Mom get taken out by Kid and Law was not something I expected to see. And what I said last week, where they have to defeat her by this point. Like after you got that far in Wano, you were just like you're a side piece. Like you're not that important. Um, and we also find out about that old pirate crew uh, that Big Mom and Kaido, right? Big Mom and Kaido, yeah, were on. I can't remember their name, like, but they were the biggest pirate crew, and then they disappeared after an incident on the island with Kuma. But I don't know. We still don't know about that. But um, yeah, seeing that was also like just seeing the whole like that whole section of like it lasted a long time, but it was still like really good. Of the whole all the fights and like Chopper doing his doctor shit. He doesn't really do it too much, I don't think, but I'm glad to see it. I love Chopper. I love him so much. Like, but I just feel like he's taken a seat, like a back seat, which happens like you don't feel like oh he's gone, he's not there, but like he hasn't had like that power up moment like Sanji has, where like that shit activates in his body from when he wore the suit, that he was supposed to have from birth, and it was just like I don't remember. I don't think I'm not sure if we got to Sanji's backstory last time, but it was fucked up. I hated the dad, but what's so funny is like at the point like you hate all these characters, and then like I said, like at some point you're just like whatever, like you move on, like, and you don't like necessarily there are a few characters like I said that you hate like constantly, you're like fuck them whatever, but like even like I said, Walpole, like you hate him and he is a huge piece of shit, but when he shows back up you're just like you're a bitch, like you don't have anything, like at this point you can't do shit. And there's very few people, well not very few, I was like kind of looking down on the admirals, I was like they're just bitches, like like he can easily take them out. Like after Kaido's shit, I was like, okay, you can take him out. But I was, well, he can, but it was still like it wasn't, just beat ass, which I did like. But yeah. So that was cool. I want to mention Nami before. Nami during the during the Kaido thing, and I know that like she had that moment where that girl's like chasing after trying to kill her or whatever, and she's like say that Luffy will never become the pirate king, and I know like that that the reasonable thing is like for her to say that, but I was like, don't fucking say that. Like it'll ruin the character. I don't know why. I just felt that way. But then she doesn't. You know, she can't say that. Like even under fear of death, like she just believes it, and I love that so much. I just love like the faith in Luffy, and it feels deserved. I feel like earlier on it was just like a bit like lazy, where it's like yeah, he's something, but you don't really know how special he is or what he what he brings to the table. But then it's like yeah, you get it. Like he's the most important person, in the story, and he's the most important person basically in the world at this moment. Um, because this is where all the shit goes out. But anyway, I just want to mention that was pretty cool. And then Nami actually beats her, which was awesome. Just seeing her fight anyone. She doesn't really do that. But anyway, like I was saying, I just want to mention the power ups one more time. Okay, so the power up, Sanji getting his birth powers, whatever. Zoro getting the new sword, and then we had Nami getting Zeus. So it was like all the way to bring them up a level, fighting wise, even though like Nami's the one who fights the least, like she fought a little bit in the beginning, but then it just kind of like she just wasn't there. And not everyone has to fight, but it was just kind of like at this point, I think Chopper and especially Usopp need a power up if they're gonna be a fighter, because it was like way I guess it was way earlier on, like when they were kind of first introduced, they were able to not I don't know, to stand I guess to like aside Luffy in a fighting way, and I just felt like that wasn't the case anymore. Like it was just a huge gap, and we still don't even know how huge. But okay, anyway, getting at Egghead, we mentioned Vegapunk like 8,000 times. I remembered the name, I knew it, and I was like, okay, this is interesting. And I thought he was gonna be an evil dude, but seeing how he was and how he had all the other Vegapunks, we had Bonnie. I actually have this. Let me see. I'll keep talking while I'm doing this so I can try it. Oh, here it is. But we get Bonnie, and I didn't know much about her. I got this when I bought something. I think I bought the Full Metal Alchemist edition. This is before I watched One Piece, so I had no idea who this character was, and I didn't give a shit. But like now, it's like okay, I fucking love this. Like love Bonnie. I love Kuma. Like, just damn, shit's so good. But once Luffy awakens that fifth gear or whatever it is, I feel like since then we've never seen him go all out. Like that's something where it's like like when he was fighting Lucci, which I was surprised to see him again. Well, not really. They kind of showed like him somewhere, but I was still a little bit surprised. But basically, what happened is, I completely just lost my train of thought with that. But oh yeah. Okay, so basically, Luffy never like with Lucci, he's fighting him, and it's kind of like equal, right? Like where he's not getting his ass beat, but he's not beating Lucci's ass either. And you're like, what the fuck? Like, is Lucci that strong or is Luffy that weak? And then you see him later on, he's beating ass, like he's going hard. But you still never see him like in the point where it's like he gets hit and he's injured. Like he'll get pushed back or like do like the cartoony thing, but never like a like actual like super bad hit where he ends up getting like injured. And it lowers the fight. So I was kind of like, what's going on with that? But that's something that we're gonna see, and when we see that, it's all gonna be because I don't think Luffy can go higher than that. It's his peak, and I love just the idea of it, like the whole cartoon shit and the whole reason behind the cartoon stuff, and the it was just something special that I think is way better than just a regular. Oh, he's got this superpower now, and his hair changes colors. It's like, nah, he got like he can shape the world. He can shape like all this shit, and like when he first fights Kaido and Nami and Usopp, and I forget, I think Sanji too. Like like his eyes pop out, like their eyes pop out. I thought that that was him doing that. Like that would have been cool, but they kind of I felt like that's what they did, but then later on they just made it out like they do that sometimes. But anyway, it was interesting. But anyway, getting back to Vegapunk. When Vegapunk appeared, I knew that like he wasn't a bad guy, and I knew like I don't know, he was important. You know, you see Dragon again. It's like, what the fuck is going on with Dragon, bro? Like, I want to know how like all the what the will of D is and all that shit. But I know that like, look, when they were giving all this stuff from Vegapunk after he dies, I was about to say spoiler, but it's like fuck it, I'm literally 20 minutes in, 30 minutes in, but um, when he dies and gets that message playing there was the point where I'm like, okay, end the broadcast. Like I'm like with them. I'm like, end the like you're giving us too much now. And I like we finally know, not a good amount. Like we don't know just like okay, there were these 20 uh, kingdoms who teamed up to fight. This one kingdom that was that powerful, and they beat them, and then that's how the celestial dragons are there, and everything like that, basically. And that was something where it's like, okay, I didn't really care at the point when they first revealed that. I was like, because I forget, but the characters, I think it's on the elephant, and they say that, they're mentioning that, and I'm just like, okay, how does this connect? And then it really, of course, it really does connect. Um, and then the reveal that Joy Boy was the first pirate. I'm just interested to see like that backstory. I know we're gonna get it, and we got a little bit with with the robot. Um, but like I said, I don't know. Like I like that you are clear that Luffy, like when he goes in Gear 5, he's still Luffy. I was a little bit worried that that power was gonna be like, okay, it takes over, kind of deal. But no, he controls it basically. Um, and then just with him and Joy Boy, I just want to know, like, I hope, like, it's not like he's exactly, I don't know, like, it'd kind of be cool if he was exactly Joy Boy, but it's like, Luffy needs, I don't know, is Luffy if it was, like, destined to be this way or something? I don't know, I just overthink things, but, um, I was just interested in that, and, what the fuck's his name? The guy with the glasses, the admiral with the yellow suit. Um, I hated him. Like in the beginning, I fucking hated him because I couldn't stand. Like I just couldn't stand his look, his fucking face. How he always had his lip sticking up. Like it pissed me off. And I straight hated the guy. Well, by the end of Egghead, you're like, damn, like he's not that bad. Uh, but seeing him, uh, you know, fighting Luffy and Luffy like, in the beginning, he's not going super hard, so he's getting like kind of hit around. But like I said, he's never like injured where it's like he has to, he gets knocked away, so he's gone for a little bit, and then they're doing other shit, and then he comes back. But he's never like too injured like to not stand up. So just seeing him fight him like that and beat his ass, and then like bringing in the 5L, like things felt, I want to say, a little routine for me watching this show. Where, like I said, it was like we beat the bad guy, like we go up there, we fight all the guy, like the people. Um, we get to the top boss. Luffy defeats the top boss. We move on. But then this shoved like a whole other layer of, like, once they revealed that Luffy, like, was Joy Boy, was, I like calling him Joy Boy more than more than Nika. I just think I don't know, it sounds, I know Nika's like, I don't know, I just like Joy Boy better. Um, but I just was interested to see that, uh, like, it became like so much bigger. Like the world felt like the world was already huge, but it just feels like there's so much more now, and like everything is so much more important, and there's something like, I don't know, there's like something going on, and I want to know what it is. Um, And I know people who watch this show like from the beginning. It's like you've had that. It's like so. It's like oh, you're like yeah, try waiting 20 years, but it's like fuck. Like even just like a few months ago, I'm like I need to know. Uh, like when Rayleigh asked Usopp about the One Piece. I mean, Usopp asked Rayleigh about the One Piece. A part of me wanted to know, but then a part of me was like, nah, like it can't be revealed like that. So, but I just, when they introduce that, like, this shit that they've mentioned in the past, and you're like, with Robin trying to figure out the history, at first I didn't care at all. Like, well, I was like, okay, it's kind of interesting, but it doesn't connect, right? Like, nothing connects to this. I was like wrong, and I like how I was wrong because it did feel like a little separated. Obviously Luffy doesn't give a shit. He does what he does, and at some points, like very rarely, but some points I felt like that was kind of annoying. But a lot of the time it was like, okay, yeah, I respect that. Um, but I think especially like on Elbaf, he's going to listen because he listens to the robot guy, and I think he knows something. I want to mention this before I forget. I think he knows something like that he's not admitting. Like when they say, "Oh, you're Joy Boy, you're this, you're that," and he's like, "What? What? You're Nika? What do you mean? Who's that? Like you must be mistaking me for someone else." The way he kind of pushes it aside makes me feel like he knows something. Like either he regained like a memory or something, or he just I don't know, learn something. I don't know, but it just felt like he knew a little bit more than he was letting on with that, and uh, uh, I don't know, like shit was just was great, but. Bonnie, like I said, was awesome. I hope she joins the Straw Hats. I think she basically is um, a member of the Straw Hats at this point. Like I said, when I thought that my fucking god, when I thought that the guy was Jinbei was dead because he didn't I haven't seen him in that much I guess advertising or like shit like that. You knew the main crew. You knew Nami, Usopp, Robin, uh, Nami, Usopp, Robin, Luffy, and Zoro, and Sanji. I think I did mention Sanji, but and Brook. Is that everyone? Am I missing something? I don't know. I might be missing something, but I never saw him, so I was like, "Oh my god, he's gonna die!" Like he died during that Big Mom thing. But then you gotta realize it's because he just joined, which was like, you know, like I said, like that's one of the things where it's like you think it would be done, like you're done with that, but it's like even though you love the main cast, they make these characters where I've never been like where they try to add a new one and I'm like no, like I don't like that. Like stick with the core group. Um, even though they feel perfect, they just find people and I'm like okay, I like them, and then they're like okay, you're gonna join the crew, and then they do, and it was like it was awesome. But anyway, going back to all that stuff, I want to talk about some of the world stuff because I feel like the world really expanded. Like it's been expanding, but we've seen a lot more of just the world government of Dragon, of uh, the admirals. The admirals actually, like a lot of them aren't that bad. Like I just feel like, but they know something about the secret of the world and they're not like telling, which is interesting. And I don't know if Garp knows or what. I don't know. Like, there's just so many questions with that. Where, like, with someone like I can't remember his name. The guy in the yellow suit with the light powers. You think, oh, he's this piece of shit. He does this, he does that. But when like he has those moments with Vegapunk, where Vegapunk's begging him, like, stop, take off, call back the Buster call. They'll destroy everything. Like we'll send back science like by 100 years or something like that. And he's just like kind of like head down, like ashamed. And when he kills Vegapunk, I appreciate that. First of all, Luffy just comes and beats the fuck out of him and hits him over there. Um, like I'm saying, and he did it like easily. So it's kind of like that's some of the true power that he has that we just don't see because of that. But anyway, going to yeah, just the admirals, Akainu with that. was really good. And at the end, when when he gets beaten down, he's just like, "Let me rest," and they bring in the five elders, and they start showing like more of that and who's really in control. And they show Emu, sitting atop the tower of the seat that should never be set or whatever. Um, I don't know. I'm so interested. Like I've heard people talk about like maybe he's had that operation where he lives forever, like the law operation. But I really want to focus on the on this stuff before I forget. But they say that Sabo killed the prince, the king of Alabasta, and Vivi went missing, and you're just like, what the fuck is going on? Like I'm kind of like, oh my god, where's Vivi? And then she's just with that newspaper guy who like I don't really want to see him. Like he's just kind of like annoying. Like, oh I like he's proud of the news and all this shit, but then he completely like fucks it, like isn't telling the truth, and it's like you're not a real newspaper man, I guess. Like, fuck you, but yeah. So that, and then with Dragon finally starting war with the Celestial Dragons, which I get why, which I like that. That's why Garp never became an heir. But like he says, because of some reason, like in the live action, I'm specifically thinking of that, where he's like, things are, I wouldn't have as much control as I have now, and it's because he would be up there, and towards the latter, like towards the end, they show how powerful he truly is, like with him in an actual fight, um, against Akainu. Akainu, is that it? No, Akainu's the lava guy, but against the ice guy, basically. So Aokiji, that's it. But they show how powerful he is, and I want to know how much he knows, and I'm kind of getting an understanding of why he's never really like he's never praised his son like Dragon, like where he's like, I'm proud of you for doing this, but he's never really been like, oh fuck, like you've completely gone against everything I stand for, all that shit, because he doesn't fuck with the Celestial Dragons either. He's like, no, I won't do anything to help. They show in that Kuma flashback. I want to make sure I'm gonna forget something, and then I'm gonna upload this video. I'm gonna be pissed off. But going into Kuma's backstory, right? I was fucking like, it was so interesting, and he did like have the worst fucking life ever. Like he deserves so much better than he got, and it was like, bro, like I thought like at least Bonnie was his like biological kid. Like obviously that doesn't matter, like a parent's a parent, but like still, like it was like, damn, like how he got Bonnie, and that girl who's like always loved him, and that was her like her last words, and then the fucking guy, like one of the five elders did it, and it was like, oh my, like got her killed. And then it's just like, Jesus, like this dude is like, was a slave, was doing all this stuff, and then they show like all his history, and I like how they start mentioning Nika, and how like he's always believed in Nika. Nika would one day come up like showing, like laughing and dancing or whatever, and I feel like Luffy didn't do that dance like that often before. I know he did it. I remember that he did it during the Sky Island, like when he was partying with like the wolves or whatever they were. He did that day, like the pose, but other than that, he hasn't really done it. But anyway, so I like how like that's why he spared him all the way back then, because he believed that he was who he thought he was. So that was really interesting to me. And him with Bonnie, and the whole thing of like he was this priest, and he was helping all these people, and he didn't end up with Bonnie's mother because he felt like he put her in danger because he had this special bloodline or whatever. And I was like, bro, like he just like and he's taking everybody's pain, and everybody's like oh, can we come every day, and he feels it, so he's like, oh shit, like and the only reason they don't is because the girl, I forget her name, like I'm literally forgetting her name, where you just don't see that, you don't see uh, where she's like, isn't this enough, whatever, because they don't know what's going on. But like he, was taking a lot of pain, and then it's like, he's helping all these people. He should have killed that king that time, after they like were trying to kill. They were trying to do the same shit that they did in Luffy's hometown, whatever, and destroy kill all the poor people. But um, he should have killed them then. And then you have well, I want to talk about the beginning first, because when I like how they show it from directly when he's first born. They show all the important parts, like the really important parts. And like what I'm talking about is like it's so good when a show can step away from something big. Like in the beginning, it was like right before Bonnie was about to be killed by one of the five elders. But then it's like, they cut, and for like a few minutes, I was like, come on, dude, like, I want to see what happens here. And then they make you forget about what's happening, and like building out the world more and showing you more of this character. And, they become like, one of your favorites, are like just amazing characters. But, you know, and just how everything fits together like so perfectly. Um, I don't really think like there's a moment where Oda like did something, and then it was like, okay, that feels like kind of just put in there, like you thought of it, but you didn't plan it from the beginning. Like one of the, I don't know, like I feel like the closest we came to that was Sabo, which I don't know if I'm right about that, but the first time they showed it, they only showed two sake cups, I think, and I don't know, but whatever. But anyway, with Kuma, growing up, getting thrown into slavery, his mom, that shit was so sad too. Where and he's like, "Oh, when's mom coming back?" And he's like, "Oh, he's dead." And then you have him kind of his dad, telling him about Nika, and that kind of is the only hope he has, which I love that. I just love that because Luffy like does embody that hope even before you knew like about Mika and about Joy Boy and all that shit. He feels that way, so it's like, yeah, okay, I get it. Um, and he's dancing, doing all that shit, and then the Celestial Dragon fucking kills him, which was insane. Like, not insane. Like the Celestial Dragon's like, bro, why? I know that like they really don't kill people off in One Piece. And I heard Oda did that because he wants them to like be at a party at the end. He loves doing the party, the banquets as he calls them. But I don't know. I just kind of think they're more like parties. I don't know why you call them. I don't know. But anyway, um, it was something like crazy, and they need to kill. Like they don't kill many people, but when Luffy hit the Celestial Dragon Charlos in the fucking, in the auction house, he should have killed him. Like I know Luffy, I don't know if he's killed anyone. I mean, maybe Kaido because he punched him in the lava thing, and there's no way Kaido cannot come back. Like that was a full story thing where it's like, okay, it went, full circle. We're good, but you know, it was just like Charles needs to go. Like he's the worst one. He's like the one who's always doing this shit. Like, oh my fucking god! And the guy, oh my god, and the guy, the Celestial Dragon who took the Mermaid Queen, um, back like all those years ago. He's not an asshole anymore. Like he's a good guy. And I was completely like, nah, they're all pieces of shit, whatever. And it really proved what she was saying, where it was like, everybody can change, and like, you just don't believe it, and then you just see that, and you're like, wow, that's crazy. And then he ends up dying. He's the only good Celestial Dragon, but he dies. Um, but he ends up saving Princess Charlotte. I remembered her name. Uh, I'm trying. Yeah, I was trying to think if that was the girl's name from Dressrosa, but no, I'm pretty sure that. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what that is. I think. Yeah, I don't know, cause she's a princess too or something. I don't know, but um, yeah. So it's like these guys need to die. So it was like when Dragon also reveals it's just about taking down these guys. It's like, okay, like do it. Like I was never against Dragon, like in his shit anyway. It was like he was doing his own thing. You know, Luffy had his own path. He had his own path. Garp had his own path. So they were all going in different directions that are like now coming somewhat together. Like not completely, but it's getting there. Um, and he what does he do? He like plants a Sabo plants a bomb in the city in like the place where the celestial dragons live, but then it turns out like he didn't kill any of them. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me, dude? Like, come on now. I don't know, like at least kill Charlos, bro. Just Charlos. If I have to see this snot-nosed motherfucker one more time, I know I'm gonna see him again because it ain't done. It ain't done. But he needs to go. And I don't know, like the Celestial Dragons aren't that important. I think, like, even story wise, like, I don't know why they keep the Celestial Dragons around, like, and do all that shit, but like, Emu has to have some reason. Like, he's got some grander scale shit going on. And I kind of thought Emu would be, like, the last bad guy because I never really, like, it took a while for me to be like, okay, Blackbeard's, like, a serious threat. Like, because literally not when he first appeared, but when he steals Whitebeard's power, it was like when Whitebeard's about to beat his ass and he's like crawling back like a little bitch. It's like it's hard to come back from that for me, where I'm just like, okay, like yeah, you're a threat. Like no, it just like I reminded me of that like for a long time, and it just didn't have that feeling, that someone like the flamingo had. So it was different, but yeah. So it took a while, but it seems like he has an important role to play too. Like something he's connected. He has to be connected to Nika or Joy Boy or whatever somehow. I'm gonna assume he's the one who killed them, and I'm assuming that like he didn't kill them. Like the guy like did it to like Joy Boy, whatever. Like. Did it to save his crew or whatever. And also going back to Jesus, going back to Kuma's backstory, seeing all their parents like was just so random and out of nowhere, and I was like, what the fuck? And like that was supposed to be some of the part like that they skipped over that wasn't canon, but it has to be canon because we're gonna see more of that because that's where I think it's the Red Pirates, that's where they went out. That captain died, whatever. I don't think he's dead. He's somewhere, but and like showing that, you forget God Valley, you forget all about that, and it's till like they show it from Kuma's perspective, and they show just enough to like. He's super interested, but it was good. But seeing their parents, and it was like it's obviously their parents. Like they make it very clear. I can't remember if Sanji's parents, like dad, was there because that's actually his dad. But I don't think also. Well, Usopp. I don't know. I don't think Usopp's dad was there because he would have been with Shanks, and Shanks I think was still he was on the ship with Gold Roger at the time. So I don't know. But like when you see Nami's mother and you see Zoro's dad and who else? It was someone else's parent. I can't remember who it was, but it was like especially just seeing that because it's like you've been long past Nami shit. You've been like not like long past, like you don't care. Like I do, obviously. Like I love Nami, but it's like when you explain her past, we've kind of left it at that. Like yeah, she was found by Bellemere, but you know what's crazy? Also, if you're watching this and you've seen any of my previous videos that I'm remembering all these names, that has to be a testament to how good this shit is because I'm so fucking stupid. I forget all the names, but yeah, Bellemere, found them at a warfield, at a battlefield or whatever, and took them in. But you never think about that. Like, it's not one of those mysteries like the Will of D or what is the One Piece. It's like not one of those long running things where it's like, what's going on here? So to just kind of show that, and it shows that like I think they were pirates, right? They were all pirates. But I know that one guy was Zoro's dad. We've seen nothing about his family. He was basically just dropped off at that. I don't know. It's kind of like a school thing. But yeah. So anyway, that was like something that like I noticed that not many people talk about. It's like what the fuck? Like that has to be big. Like we haven't seen why Garp has become like the hero. Like that's the reason he became the hero of the Marines because of that. And he even like that's where they kind of show that like he doesn't fuck with the Celestial Dragons. He's like, no, I'm not gonna go there like just to help the Celestial Dragons. But then he's like, oh, Roger's there. He's like, oh shit, I'll be right there. So I love that. I love Roger and Garp's relationship. It was cool, but it's also crazy how he said, "I don't think you'll leave my like in the." I don't know if he said this in the. I mean, we're you won't leave my son to the gallows, and he does. So it was like fuck, Garp with that was not shit, and like with him and now I'm forgetting the name Dan. That shit was like savage and absolutely deserved. Um, I just love seeing like some of these like modern, like not modern, but well, I guess yeah, but current times, like from Luffy's hometown, especially when you see Nojiko, and the mayor. The mayor is always there, but he's not. I don't remember his name. Uh, and Nojiko as a kid now, by the way, after the 2 year time skip, and I do love how like even though Luffy's not like I don't know if he's going back there before he finds the One Piece like with Kuma or something like that, but if he doesn't like we haven't seen that, but I love how like she's like treating him like she's he's his son her son's older brother, and he recognizes him from the newspapers and stuff. I love that. Like there's just this very small detail that I really loved, where it's like he's not even there. Like he's not he's not even there, and they still like want him to be want him to be I guess like a part of it, like the community or something like that. But I'm not exactly sure how to put it. But I just thought that was super interesting to me. But uh, and then them going that they are finally like they can't like I don't want them to end the show, but it feels like we like when they first mentioned like the poneglyphs, like the red poneglyphs, and I was like, oh shit, we're getting towards the end. Not really, but now it's like what we've got like 3 out of the 4 poneglyphs and Big Mom's, the one at the the elephant, and then I think there was another one, right? Oh, at the sea, the Fishman Island. So then I think there's one at Elbap, and that's where it goes, to that. And then they're setting up the whole like end of the world type shit, which I was not expecting either. That shit was insane. So Luffy's gonna have to stop the end of the world, uh, and find the One Piece. And they show all these other people looking for the One Piece. They finally like reassert that like it's always been the goal, but it's been like kind of passive, where it's like we'll get there eventually. But now it's like it's a race. Well, it's always been a race, but like now it's more serious, I guess. But I'm still just like I don't want it to end. Like I there's still so many things we don't know. So we probably have like at least another like minimum at least another 300 episodes. I don't want to say like anything to like jinx it, but like we still don't know about Joy Boy and all this other shit like the world. I don't know, but I need I need more, and it's like we're not done yet, but I still feel like it's coming to an end. It's making me sad, but I don't know. So anyway, getting back to uh, Luffy, it was cool seeing Bonnie recognizing him as Mika. I gotta call him Mika when she does it because that's what oh yeah, and Mika wears I mean, Jesus, Joy Boy wears the straw hat in the robot flashback thing, like where they show the shadow. Uh, so I'm just interested to see like what it is with that, and oh, in the flashback when they show you know, like Nami and Zoro. I can't remember the other ones, but I know there was more. Parents, they show, you know, Roger jumping down from the ship, you know, when, you know, he's gonna fight Garp or whatever, and he's wearing the straw hat. So it's like Roger gave him the straw hat, which he gave to Luffy. And I'm just wondering, like, because I remember they did show like that straw hat statue figure thing, whatever it was, like just for like a second, like 300 fucking episodes ago. So, but you know, it's like it seemed like that was Joy Boy's, Nika's, whatever hat. Um, Although Luffy doesn't wear it anymore, bro. Like, put it back on. Like, I get he can't wear it in like Gear 5, but it's like, damn, bro, put this shit on. Oh, and that look when he's fighting Kaido, before he turns to Gear 5, you know, he has the hat, he has the coat like over the shoulders. That is a clean fucking look. I love the coat. I love the captain's coats. Like, I just want to see more of that. But yeah. So anyway, I'm trying to think what else here. I'm not exactly sure, but they open up a lot with Vegapunk, and you realize like when he's, you know, doing the post, you know, like after death video, um, you realize that he was one of those characters that knew too much. Like he knew way too much. Like he couldn't be allowed to stick around because he would, I think, tell like Luffy and the others about it. And him, like his last look being at Luffy in Gear 5, like at his back, I think he smirked. I'm not 100% sure on that, but you know, something now is the time where, you know, even in the thing he says like, oh, I don't know if Joy Boy was a good guy or a bad guy, who was the hero or the villain, so I can't answer those questions, so I won't tell that part of the story. Which at first I was like, fuck, like come on, tell that. But then he just kept going on and on. And at some point I was like, okay, bro, like this is this is like it felt wrong. It was like, okay, this is too much. But yeah, but seeing that, like Luffy's fated to do something, and he's gonna win where, you know, Nika Joy Boy lost. He's gonna do something. Like I don't know. I love the prophecy type shit, but I'm just wondering how much of it is prophecy and how much is like, you know, just what happens because like when they show that, well, I don't know if they showed this. I just saw like a photo. I don't know, the manga or whatever, and they have the like Joy Boy's crew, and they, you know, one of them is the one-eyed swordsman, which is Zoro, obviously, which they haven't revealed. I don't know, maybe Oda said something about this, like how he lost his eye, or they will, but like somehow you don't even care. Like you're just like, okay, he came with like with one, you know, with one eye and a scar, but how did he get that? I don't know, and they never really bring it up, but I don't know, but I'm just interested to see how that is. I don't know. I guess I just don't want too much of it to be like preordained. Uh, what like how I don't know, how serious are all these people? Like how important are the like the crew to you know, Joy Boy, Nico, whatever, and how much like have they are they? I don't know. I'm having trouble like putting it into words. Um, how big are they in the prophecy? Like how are all these people basically back? Because I'm assuming like I don't kind of want this, but like I feel like I don't know. Oda will do it in a way where I'm like, okay, but I don't want like Luffy to be Joy Boy exactly. Like he was just. Cause I also saw a YouTube video like, what if the Straw Hats were born with all their memories, and it was like, yeah, like are they just like are they reincarnations? Do they have the souls? So it's like somewhat different. Like I can't think of it. There's another show, um, where someone has like the soul of someone else, but it isn't them exactly. I can't remember what it is though. I think it's an anime. Let me know if you know what that is. But I don't know. But I'm just interested to see what's going on with that. And I know we're gonna get at least some of it in Elbaf because Elbaf is where Nika is the, you know, the god, and uh, yeah, I don't know. But anyway, with the whole fight, um, with the Grand Elders, that shit was peak. Like the animation was absolutely peak. They put Zoro away on the sidelines, like fighting Lucci, and it was like, bro, come on now. Like Zoro deserved better than that. And while Lucci, I actually fuck with Lucci. Like he's a cool villain. Um, I just didn't think like at first I didn't want him to come back. I'm like, you're done, you know, whatever. But they did like interesting stuff with it, so I was like, okay. And then they had what the fuck's her name? What the fuck is her name? You know, the woman, the blonde woman who's like been there for a long time. She's like back and forth. Not the one who like has the soap fucking power or whatever it is. Uh, I don't know, Ussy something. I don't want to say like I don't want to say like pussy or like what is it like? Because I know it's not. Because I know that like there's pussy galore and like James Bond and shit, but I don't think that's what it is. It's like Stussy. There we go. But her working with Vegapunk and all that shit, and also Sentomaru like getting that kind of respect that I think I mentioned it in a previous video where he was like, you're not the real Straw Hats. The Straw Hats, like, where he had that respect, and I really love like that respect. Even they're fighting whatever, but they have an a mutual respect for each other, like Roger and Garp, like. They're rivals, they're enemies, but they respect each other and they kind of understand each other in a way. So it's cool seeing that and seeing him after this long, and seeing the backstory with him and why he's fighting for, Vegapunk and how he is connected to Kizaru. Kizaru, is that it? I think so. I think that's it. Um, Trying to think. Yeah, Admiral Keyser. I'm pretty sure, but if I'm wrong, like I'm gonna be fucking stupid. But um, just that whole like I said, that line at the end where he's like, just let me. Yeah, I'm wounded. Just let me, let me rest. Let me like, he does this like as he's crying or something. And that makes you like, from a guy from like you're like fuck him whatever. You're kind of like, damn, I kind of fuck with this guy. Like, I also saw people want him to be fan cast by Adam Sandler, and you know what? I can fucking see it. I doubt it, but I can see it. Um, he does have the look. Like I don't know what it is. Like I don't, he doesn't have one of those faces where I'm like automatically I fucking hate you. But like he just seems like yeah he'd fit. Like I've seen the fan edits and shit, and he looks pretty good. But anyway, I'm trying to think what else here. Uh, yeah, I don't know. So they revealed that the Revolutionary Army is finally fighting openly against the thing, um, against the Celestial Dragons. But you know they're up against that. They're finally Ivankov is finally we're seeing Ivankov more. We're seeing the other members. We're seeing how big of a member, how important Sabo's become, like where he's like considered to be like some like they're him and Luffy are like they know that they're brothers and they're considered something, but I can't remember what it is. Um, so I don't know, but I'm excited to see how this goes with that. Sabo like they put Sabo on this pedestal, and I think like yeah like he is strong like especially with the fire fruit, but there's no way like at this point he's stronger than Luffy. Like Luffy could have beaten Ace by now. Obviously, like I don't know when that point was where it was like okay, like I don't know if it was. I don't think it was exactly like post time skip because Ace was just like obscenely powerful, but um, it's before year five basically is what it is because that's just God mode. And I also really want to know what Luffy's dream is. I forgot that like they kind of recontextualize why he wants to be king of the pirates. Like yes, he'll be the most free, but he also wants something. And I'm guessing it's like world peace or like like something where where people are like, oh, that'll never happen. Like because it's like if you said like, oh, I want world peace like today, like to me, I'd be like, yeah, okay, like like there's no way, but so it's I think it's something like that. But man, I'm just excited to see where this goes. uh, I think this is about all I have to say. I know it's been like an hour, and I still feel like I probably have things I have to say, but I just can't remember. Um, but anyway, uh, I'll keep watching, and I'll let you know. Uh, well, I'll wait a little bit, but let me know what you think if you're caught up. If you're not, you shouldn't be watching this video. You should fucking watch One Piece. But that's about it.